Hey, this is Deb, and this is Happy Hour with Deb. And guess who are my favorite people are back in the room? I've got the Hall family, Brittney and Ryan. I'm so happy that you, first of all, you just make my heart happy. I'm thrilled that you're here. It is such an honor to have you guys. And we have a lot of, entrepreneurs and people who are growing businesses, and people are like, well, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
So this is such a good podcast for people. And I'm sure people have said to you, well, how do you get to that level?
Yeah.
So Brittney and Ryan, they grow businesses.
Yeah.
They grow them from 30 to 300,000. They grow them from 1 million to 500 million. And they are a pivotal team in dissecting a business, seeing where the strong parts are, where the weak parts are, and formulating a plan to monetize it.
Yeah.
Was that good?
Yeah. I'm like, dude, we are good.
We should hire ourselves.
I know, right? Exactly. People are going to be like, what are their damn number?
Yeah.
And nobody does it better, I don't think, in my opinion. Just for the viewers, Brittney and Ryan are also dear friends. Brittney was very instrumental in helping me grow my business. We met through another business connection, and you're a key team.
Oh, thank you.
To be able to step back, because when you're in, Deb, I'm going to need to separate your emotions. When you're in it, it's so hard because, entrepreneurs, even you start this and you're everybody.
Yeah.
You're the phone answerer, you're the appointment, you're filing the taxes, you don't know what to buy. People are selling you stuff all day long.
You get spread really thin, you don't know who to trust. Yeah.
Right. And I always say on the podcast when we're in Nashville with artists, where there's fish, there's sharks. Mm-hmm. And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
So it really is, it's key to hook up with somebody that is important. So let's start this. I know your background. I know we've had you on the show before.
I know it's like we're like a weekly occurrence.
I know. The good thing is now for the viewers, you'll be seeing Brittney a lot. She's coming in to co-host because her energy's so good. I think it's just a cool thing to have her in the room. Why this? Why did you go from working for other people?
Yeah.
Why this?
Yeah. I think that Ryan and I, throughout our lives, we've always had, either our own businesses or, led a business or done a side hustle or something. But our biggest thing that we value is freedom. And so we have popped into companies and worked for, periods of time. But we always come back to, man, we really need to just work for ourselves because the, worst thing that I can imagine is asking somebody's permission to do what I want with my own time.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that I don't want to work.
As parents.
Oh, this last summer, and it wasn't a bad experience, but we were working in a company out of an office 3 days a week, which was it was a cush deal. Mm-hmm. They paid us very well. It wasn't stressful. When we left, we left. Nobody bugged us after hours.
Right.
But I will probably always remember it as the summer that I wasn't home with my kids.
Right.
And I fucking hate that.
I bet.
I'm now that it's just us, I'm can I go? I'll try to keep it under wraps. But I hated it. And we work together, so it's we're together, but it's I'm leaving these kids that this is going to be a summer of their childhood.
And you never get that time back.
Never.
Ever.
And I was we're done. We're done with this because our dreams are for freedom for our family, for time, financial, and we want to help other people create that because we have such a love and passion for it. And so I love helping companies create more revenue, all that, but it's not about the money. It's about what the money does.
It's absolutely.
And it's a great tool, and it allows us to do things and have experiences and create memories. And my favorite thing is when we work with entrepreneurs, and I asked one of our clients the other day, I go, are you having more fun than you were a couple of months ago? Because he was stressed. He had wasn't sure what he should do with certain people on his teams, didn't have clarity over the direction, but he knew that he wanted to grow. And he's I feel so much better. This is fun. And I'm that's what you're your life should be fun.
Absolutely. And you should love what you do.
You should love it. You should not be oh God, I got to talk to this person. And there's those moments, and we're going to have those things, but it's I really want to help people love their business, love their life, have time with their families. It's just really important to me.
And I think you guys are a great example because you are, husbands and wives working together is almost a thing, but now it's when I'm talking to you and Ryan, I'm where's Ryan? It's almost
I'm
where's Waldo? Is he still the flu? What's happening?
Yeah, he's like driving me around somewhere.
You do, and I think it's amazing that because the family structure is so important.
Yeah.
The two of you are each other's support and love and center.
Yeah.
And that you can do it all.
Yeah.
You know, I
you
mean,
can have the life you want. And like,
can.
that's what we're like, people that we know probably are like, what the hell do they even do?
Right.
Because you see people stressed out about life, about money, about this, about that, about their relationship. And we're like, how do we do this? Right. We were saying this the other day because we're like, we don't feel stressed out like over money, over whatever. And it doesn't mean that we're just like making millions of dollars, but we're just like, we know that everything's going to get like figured out.
Absolutely.
Like we have a lot of faith too. So like we operate from that place a lot.
I think that's what's so cool about working with you guys because it's so, you don't know who to go, you don't know who to trust, you don't know what to do. And you're like, it's going to work out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm like, if somebody's working with us just because of like our values and our integrity, is I'm like, I will always show up for you.
Absolutely.
Like, because I have a lot of, what would you say? Like when somebody hires us and gives us like their money to do a job, like I would never squander that.
You have a lot of buy-in. I mean, you really want to help people, especially if they're paying you to.
Like I just take it very seriously.
It's like an obligation. I feel that way when I take money from people. I'm like, it's my job.
Yeah.
You paid me to get you to a spot, and that's what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you work a lot with coaches in the coaching business because you've got a lot of experience with the coaching, which has exploded, which thank God. No, I mean, not just for me as a coach, but for people like
this industry.
For somebody to hold your hand and be your suit of armor and let you know that it's normal to have these feelings.
Well, business is hard.
It's hard.
Like that's why I'm like, people who go into business for themselves, most fail.
Right.
Most don't make it past is it the 2-year mark? You're better at statistics than
Maybe 2 years. But I think a lot of people get into business because they're very good at a specific thing. But then what they figure out is when they get into business, they have to be pretty good at everything. Because you have to do literally everything.
And you can't give up.
You can't quit. That's the only way you fail.
If you want to be successful. Mm-hmm.
And you're going to come up against challenges and you
every
know
day
how to figure it out.
Yeah.
But you really just have to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, and that's true. It is so, and in life, you know, I mean, we all want to sleep till 10.
Yeah.
Without blanket.
Entrepreneurship is not for the weak.
It's not for the weak. It's not for the lazy, and it's not for the people that offend easily.
No,
you got to have some thick skin.
Yes, I was talking to somebody the other day, and kind of walking him through an exercise, like giving him some homework and stuff, and he was having like a lot of trouble with like something was happening almost like physiologically for him, where it was like becoming very frustrating, and kind of throwing a little bit of a fit about it.
Right.
And I was like, I told Ryan, I was like, I got to take a breath because I was like, I'm not going to stroke that ego and tell you everything's going to be okay. I go, I don't do that for my kids.
Right.
Like, I'm an adult, you're an adult. Business is hard. Toughen up.
Right.
And freaking let's go.
That's it.
And that's
you
the kind
have
of
to
coach
want to
I am.
win.
And I'm like, and I speak that way to people because I love them. And I'm
Right.
like, whatever this is amateur shit.
Right.
You want to be successful, you got to toughen up.
That's it. That's
And
what it is.
And if you have a bunch of excuses, we're not your people.
No,
Because we're going to tell you, tough shit, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, and that's beautiful because that's really when I run my my coaching practice like that. I'm like, unless you want to be, I turn people into badasses. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to be a badass or you don't think, then I'm not your girl.
Yeah.
I can certainly find you somebody, but I'm not your girl because it is my job to maximize. I'm going to take your life and explode it.
Yeah.
And you're going to love every second of it. So what's your ideal client? Like I know who you work with. You work with some of the great.
Yeah.
And, I think it's amazing. Shout out to our Craig. We love him.
Oh, yeah.
He's
we
a
love
great
Craig.
guy.
Siegel.
Love Craig.
He's so fun.
Such a great guy.
I would say for me personally, the people I love to work with is people who are open, like coaches. I do love working in the coaching industry because it's creative.
Yes.
It's helping people. There's really not a blueprint. Like there's certain things that will be like, hey, this model's working really well right now. It's like a lead generator or to monetize, or this is a good, lane to get in. But I love working with people that are like they're in it too. Because it's like, I don't necessarily have all the answers, but if you start brain dumping on me, that's where I'm really good, where I go, ooh, let me rearrange this.
Right.
And that's it. Like, that's the idea. That's where we're going to go. And people who are not like uptight because nothing's going to be perfect. Like, because we're all human. And like, I catch most things and cover my bases. Like, I'm a professional, but like, not like we can't just be like, oh, like stop and it has to be perfect before we can move forward. Like I love action takers that are like, yep, let's go.
Stone jumpers, not stone steppers. I'm like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, like
everything you learn from the other side of fear.
Yeah, like let's try it. We're going to learn something.
Right.
It's like, what if everything goes great? What would you say your ideal client? Because I feel like our skill sets are probably a little.
Well, I have quite a bit of experience with the coaching stuff now, but I mean, I'm very blue collar. I always have been, and so we had some electrical work done at our house the other day because I'm building Brittney a new.
You're Bob the Builder.
Oh my gosh, my new office.
I called you Bob the Builder, which is beautiful. The blue is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
And so, but we were talking to our electrician, who we've had multiple times, like, hey, how can we help you grow your business? Because that's one of his big desires is I want to do more things.
Right.
And so we can.
I would also say like an area that we haven't like tapped into yet that I think would actually be an amazing fit for someone like Ryan to actually be the lead on, and then I could support him because he supports me a lot right now with like the coaching business. Usually I take the lead and he like supports back end stuff. Is Ryan's like incredible at operations and logistics and kind of like rearranging pieces. He sees things in a really beautiful way. So like if there's a company that's like things feel messy, like he comes in and just freaking optimizes. Like he's incredible at that. And like nobody executes like Ryan.
And I honestly think too, Ryan, with people like you, I mean, when you're an entrepreneur and you're starting out and everybody, you need this, you need this, you need this, and it's an outpouring of money with no income coming in, you know, and I think it's pivotal to have a team that's like, that's not necessary right now. We're going to grow into that at some point, but right now the resources are better spent here.
Yeah. And he's so good at that. And like Ryan's had his own business, ran it very successfully. He's had rental properties. He has like a lot of experience in different things that I think some people just like don't even know about. But I'm like, and he's also very unemotional when it comes to business decisions. And that doesn't mean he's a jerk because that could get confused.
Not at all.
But he's just like this. You're also very decisive, which both of us are.
Yes.
Which I think is what helps us move quick. Because we're not like, well, should we, you know.
Right. Because you know how much revenue is lost in that gray area?
Oh, my, you know what? I heard something the other day. It was actually Cody Sanchez, who I love her.
I love Cody Sanchez, too.
She was talking about, she's like, if you just make decisions quicker, she's like, you don't have to be smarter. You don't have to be more talented. She's like, automatically you're going to get ahead because you make decisions quicker than the next guy.
Right.
And she's like, that's how you'll outdo your competition.
Yes.
But he's like that. Like, you know, we've worked with people where they're like, well, I don't know. He's like, what are we waiting for? Like, if we're going to fire that person, freaking fire him.
Let's go. We're waiting
fire
for
him. We'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
Like, let's get rid of that person and not like, that sounds terrible. But like, let's see the hole that's filled. Most of the time what we've found out is if there's a person that we need to let go of, they weren't doing what everybody thought they were anyways. It's like, oh, now we're just saving money every month and that person didn't do anything.
Right, because they're just, and there is always, I'm sure at every company.
Or if you have a minor league player but you're kind of hanging on to him, you're never going to get to the major leagues. So you have to get rid of that person and find the rock star that you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah. Or that person that you can bring up into that like rock star status, you know, and like cultivate them. Yeah.
So. You know, and I think it's what is incredible about what you guys do is you don't do everything, but you know which person fits for that company.
Oh,
if it would be a media team or if it would be a Salesforce team or whatever. Because I mean, I don't think a lot of, especially coaches, when, you know, we just had Jen on, don't realize if you have a webinar and you've got 500 people, who's going to close those people?
Who's going to talk to any of those people? Who's going to send them emails?
You don't have you don't have time to get
Do they even have the system for it? You know, that's the thing. And so that's where a lot of, I think in the coaching business is people almost shoot their effort in the foot because it's like, yeah, that's really fun. Let's do a webinar. Let's do this. And then it's like, did you get their data? Right. Do you have something to offer them?
Do you have
something? Yeah. And like, you better not wait longer than like a couple days because now those people forgot who you are.
Totally.
So there's a system and a method to it. And I think, they think, oh yeah, this will be fun because a lot of time coaches are creative people. They're people.
They really are.
And so they're on that front end, but they're not thinking of that whole system on the back end that's going to help them make money. That's
they think of the creative.
Yeah, they don't think of the business. That's right. That's a good way to put it.
Right. And you know, when I first started, you know, it was really, I'm just going to coach. I'm going to coach. And I didn't realize how many other doors there were for me to, one, be a better coach, to get in front of more people, to really build a name in the industry and you don't know what you don't know.
No.
You know, you just don't. I mean, I thought I'd be sitting behind a desk in a Zoom and I would be coaching people.
Yeah.
If you would have told me I'd be getting on planes and, you know, I would have never thought. But I think what's pivotal about hiring a company like yours is that you're like, okay, we're here. We can be here.
Yeah.
Here's the steps we need to without making it feeling overwhelming.
Yeah. And, well, gosh, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, one of the questions we ask a lot of our clients is, what do you like to do?
Right.
Because there's so many different ways to earn money.
Right.
Now, it's like, if you think you should do this because that's how you're going to make money, forget that. What do you like to do? What do you enjoy?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do that. Let's build that.
Like, where do you
Right.
get energy from your business? Because I think people think they have to have it figured out. They think they have to fit in this box. And it's like, we've done so much like studying around, like in personal development, around like gifts and talents and personality types and structures and teams and like making up a really great team and just kind of like hitting all the bases, right?
Right.
And but not like, I think one of the biggest things that we see entrepreneurs make the mistake is they think they have to be great at everything.
And they do everything.
Yes, and like, I'm not
It's a
good
burnout.
at everything. Like,
No.
but that's what
I don't want to be. I don't want that on
No.
my tombstone. By the way, Deb, because everybody's going to be like, that's a joke. She's not good at everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the importance of hiring people like you guys is to understand I'm not going to be a great coach if I'm doing every other job but coaching.
No.
There's no way.
Or you're going to be drained, energetically drained from this thing over here that you don't like doing, because when we do things we don't want to do, instantly drains our
totally
energy.
sucks your energy.
And then I can't show up at 100% amazing for this person over here because this shit took
right.
that like magic from me.
Absolutely.
You
And
know?
it's like it is. And it is so, the second we talk about bringing people in, the first thing people are like, well, what's the cost?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the cost of staying the same is leaving you broke.
Yeah.
You know, invest the money on, if you're in this and you're in this to win this and this is going to be your career, and you're true entrepreneurs they're naked in snowstorms. They know it's what you got to do. You know, it's got to be done.
Yeah.
And it's not for the lazy, and it's not for the weak, and it means you're working nights and weekends and holidays.
It's
and
inconvenient. Success is not convenient.
It
That's
is
something I
not.
learned a long time ago.
It is not convenient, but a certain, and this is an interesting point because you've worked with a variety of personalities.
Yeah.
like-
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, gosh, years and years ago, I was like running a fitness club and like in charge of all the fitness instructors. Like, it's like I've always been in just these funny positions.
Right,
Lots
which is
of different
crazy,
people.
And I think when somebody has it in them. Mm-hmm. Like, I meet so many people now, and I can sit back and be like, they're the ones that are going to make it.
Oh, yeah. And people like to pretend like they're a badass and they're so great and all this stuff. But I'm like, who answered their phone? Who got back to me on an email? Who had a great, tone and showed up really well and was coachable and open and responsive? Like, that's the stuff I look for, because I'm like, I can teach you skill, but who are you as like a person?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, because it's like that, you can't.
And are you going to be as
that.
invested as I am?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it is. It's so how do you guys find your team? Like, you let's say you take on Jen, and she needs to now spin this. How do you decide who the best team for Jen would be?
Yeah, I think, what's she trying to do? So, what does she need? Right now, we could probably fulfill, say, what somebody like that needs. Or if it's something like she needs something that we don't do, like a media team or something like that, then I would probably tap into my network, right?
Right. Which
Well,
is
and I think-
invaluable to have.
Yes.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's invaluable because you said earlier, where there's fish, there's sharks. Well, there's a lot of sharks out there.
There is.
And so I think there's
Well, and it used to be your job to sift through them
Yeah, I was
for the
a sh-
companies that we worked for.
I was a shark sifter.
Yeah.
Shark tamer. I love that.
But that's what kind of we've done is we've worked with people for years now, and so we have these relationships, and we know this person is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
This person will be good because we have history with them. Where a lot of times somebody that like Jen, for example, goes to someone, well, she doesn't know. They're for sure going to take her money, but
For sure
she
they
doesn't know if they're going to get results.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're
And
like,
so
we
we
know
have-
these people get results.
We can guarantee results because
Right.
we know the people for years that we've
And
worked
that's such an important resource. Like I can't explain this enough to people. genuine connections. They're like, get in front of as many people as you can. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of the people I've been in front of, I don't want to ever be in front of again.
Yeah. You're like, learned a lesson there.
I'm like, that's not my tribe.
No.
They're not my people. But it is hard when you're starting out, and like, who do you trust?
Well, and one funny thing is because I'm like a people person, right?
Yes.
And you think that I would like run people through like a thing. This is why I'm good at helping business owners, because I love people to get what they want. But it's also why I'm not a super strict parent, because I'm like, you want to do that? We should do that.
Yes.
I'm not the best at like learning who to like hire.
Right.
Like even so, like building our own team, like, or people for, other businesses.
Right.
Like Ryan would be like, hey, can you be on this interview with me? I'm like, yeah, but like, I'm not making this decision. Cause I'm like, if they tell me they want the job, I'm like, yeah, let's get you this job.
Right. You're the cheerleader.
It's terrible.
And then come over for dinner.
Yeah. So I'm like,
The dog's going to stand on the desk. We have built-in entertainment.
Yes.
Right, like you are. See, I'm
Yeah.
a lot like that too.
So I'm like,
tend
I
to see the
can't.
good in people.
yeah, I'm like, I think, whatever, like if they just have a great connection with me, I'm like, they're going to be great. But he really is so much better at like, I don't know, what would you call that
Separating.
quality?
I take the emotion out of it, Deb.
I'm telling you, in my 29 years I've been on this earth, it's still the greatest advice, and it was just like, it's what I needed to hear. I was building this world around something that didn't need to. It's a job.
Yeah.
It's a business.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
Ryan needs to seriously be in everybody's life.
I do. Everybody needs little Ryan. Now I
Yes.
feel like that I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call Ryan, see what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
he'll give me a little, hit me straight with this, Ryan,
Well, because we really do want to help people, because
Right.
I am somewhat
Yeah.
of a people person. It's
Yeah,
probably
you
not my
you actually
I don't
like
lead
people
with it.
probably more than I
You know what's really
Yeah.
funny? That's what I was about to say about the two of you is I feel taken care of. Right? Like,
Yeah.
you're not, if you don't know the answer, you're going to be honest with me.
Oh, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to fake
Right.
anything.
You're not going to like blow smoke up my ass or anything.
No.
You're going to be like, we don't know. We'll find somebody that does. And it's a genuine, like, she wants this. Let's go
Yeah.
after it.
Let's figure it out.
Right. And
Yeah.
you did ask me in the very beginning, what do you really want to do?
Yeah.
Like, it's great that you have this resume of things you can do, but who is your hand in glove, Deb?
Yeah.
Who do you want to work with?
Yeah, like that's what in coaching especially, I'm like, who are the conversations that you walk away with and you're like, hell yeah.
Yes.
Like that. And like for me, it's when I'm speaking with a coach and we're kind of doing like a little strategy session, because I think on the spot. Like I don't prep for things.
You me neither.
Because I'm just
Never
like,
been
I'm
my
in it.
strong suit.
No.
Either. People are like, do you script your podcast? I'm like, what? Can you imagine me scripted?
Yeah, that would take all the magic out of it. But there's some people
Right.
that need a plan because it's like, oh God.
Well, before we turned the mic on, I said, "What are we talking about?" And Brittney and Deb go, "I don't know. We'll figure it out."
I know, because
We
Ryan's
don't know.
like,
Like, what are we talking about?
yeah. I'm like, we don't know.
Who cares? We're still talking if it's important.
Yeah, but like I love when I'm like, ooh, like I hear them say something, and then I say something like, what if we did this? And then they feel like this excitement, and I'm like, hell yeah. Like that's so fun. So that's what I realized is I originally thought in our business, I want to go in and fractionally work in a company with these teams and these people. And then I'm like, God, some of these teams are like freaking annoying because it's not the main person, but it's their people.
It's
and I'm
their
like,
team, right?
Good Lord.
It's beautiful that you can see the cracks in the team.
Yeah.
Because when you're the boss, and you guys know my story over like the holiday thing, and I'm like, well, how's it going to run without them? And then I'm like, why am I giving in to nonsense?
Yeah. Well, and if you don't,
What are you
get
kidding me?
rid
I
of
can
something-
move mountains.
Yeah, it's like
You know?
if you don't take care of that, then you actually don't have the space for this new awesome thing to come in. So once you
Absolutely.
created the space,
Yes.
you had these, and you knew what you wanted. These amazing people came in and filled that void in your business.
Totally.
But if you don't make the space, nothing can fill it.
That's right. And
Yeah.
and I think as entrepreneurs, we hit a certain you wear every hat,
Yeah.
which is why it's pivotal to work with you guys because you're going
Yeah.
to take some of those hats away.
Yeah.
And by the time you do your job and then run the business, you're the last thing you can think of is I got to start interviewing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like I just want to get through to tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm
then
just
have
trying to
anything
get to
left.
happy hour.
I know. And then have anything left for the personal relationships in your life.
Right. And I agree
yeah.
with you. We have the same philosophy in life, and we've talked about this,
Yeah.
that, it is very important for me to share a meal with Rusty.
Yeah.
The man asked for nothing. legitimately. He asks for nothing, but he does enjoy that we sit down and we have a glass of wine and we have a good meal and that we talk about,
Yeah.
and that's his love language. That fills his cup.
Yeah.
To know that, like, it's not just another day, rip it off the calendar and we're moving on.
Yep.
That everything that happened is important. How he felt about it is important.
Yeah.
What went right today.
Yeah.
And build off of that. And you guys are very family oriented too. But to me, so many entrepreneurs, and I did this in the beginning, get very caught up in the trap. Like, I need to work 7 to 11 if I'm going to like. Nobody functions burnout.
I think this actually, it's been this culture in the personal development space, this messaging, and I think we're going to see a shift from it. It's these men who want to like holler and tell everybody and be like ultra like alpha and like you got to get up at 4 and you got to work till 6, and it's like no, because the rest of your life is going to freaking crumble.
It is.
Like, what about your wife?
And what is it?
Kids?
What's worth it then?
Or I would say that's one way to do it, but it's not the way to do it.
Right.
No, because like I actually function really well with white space on my calendar.
Yes.
I have to have a little bit of time by myself every day,
Yes.
whether it's in a workout, taking a bath, like walking the dog, listening to something in my car while I'm driving to get a kid.
Yes.
Like, and he knows that like he'll say that, like, if I start to get where I'm like uptight, like I'm getting wound, he's like, maybe you need to go, do you need, like, what do you need?
Yeah, what do you need?
And he's like,
what
maybe do you need some alone time?
Right.
Like, or even if I'm with people all the time and then it's like, then the kids and then Ryan and then we got to run to sports and we got to do this. Like, I have to have that time to decompress every day.
Yes.
Or else I become like just
a machine.
Like, kind of wound up and short and snappy and like I just go there. And so.
And I think
not
that's
creative at all.
Not
you're
creative.
not, because when
No.
you're overwhelmed, the last thing you can do is start doing things better. You just can't.
Yeah.
Actually, Matthew and I were talking about it too, that like working from home has been really fantastic for me, except for traveling for the show. Like, I'll block an hour and that's when I go
Yeah.
chop stuff for dinner.
Yep.
Or, get the clothes so that I'm not all day sorry, like, okay, I just worked all week and now I've got this mountain to climb. Like, it's the quality of life that's important
Yeah.
to me.
And we have to know those things that are not work related that give us energy that actually make us more effective in our work.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the thing really in the coaching, influencer, network marketing space, if you're sharing things online, there's a creative aspect to it and like working off your inspiration. But like he said, if like you're so drained, you're not going to feel inspired.
No.
And so you have to have the awareness of, I might not work like everybody else.
Right.
And like that was me in sales. Like I always rejected that I had to have a certain number of people that I talked to a day for my numbers to shake out. I always had like the top sales. And I probably had the least touches because I just didn't believe in working like that.
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna work smarter. I've always believed in working smarter than harder.
It is. I
And
mean,
it doesn't mean I don't work hard, but like I just don't want to live my life like that.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs too, the time management is a struggle.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you're working for somebody else, they're managing. your
Exactly.
time.
Most people have an employee mindset.
Right. And
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
then when you're on your own, it's almost like
You have to create
in
structure.
the beginning, I actually felt guilty. Like, I'm like, why aren't there people, like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, what should I be doing today?
That isn't running. But then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, well, but you're going to need, like, I need time to study. I need time to reconnect. I need time to structure the business. And, because we have this mentality that if you're never going to be successful unless you're working 90 hours a week.
Yeah. It's this like busy energy. I think.
But is anything really getting done in that time? Like, to me, could I work 70 hours a week?
Well, and do you know how many
100%. There's always something to do.
Yes.
But is it going to grow the business?
Well, especially in this space, I'm like, a lot of people, when they're like, oh, I was working, blah, blah, blah. It's like scrolling on your computer on social media doesn't fucking count as
Doesn't
working.
count as work.
No,
Right.
it's like I would rather somebody block out a half an hour and be like, I'm going to just start connections. I'm just going to connect with people on social media. Those people who are liking my stuff, commenting on stuff, I'm going to message them. I'm going to thank them. Like that, using social media in that way, super effective.
Right.
You can get a lot done in 30 minutes. But
Finding
then
the
go-
perfect lip gloss, not so effective.
No, don't get off of Amazon, get off of whatever.
Right.
But so many people spend so much time getting ready to do something, like getting ready to clean the house and getting ready for this and getting ready for that. It's like, no.
Yeah, see, I'm like you. I tell my clients, I'm like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, like we haven't, like you're big on that. You're like, we haven't done anything about that yet?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
What are you
Like,
doing?
what are we doing?
Well, and I think people use busy almost like a badge of honor. You ask somebody, how are you?
Facts.
Oh, I'm busy.
I get pissed when people are like, oh, you're so busy. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, we think of busy as that's terrible.
That's
Oh.
terrible. Right. Like, that's a bad word in your house.
Yeah.
You don't want to
yeah.
be busy.
Yeah.
And I think, but that's also what's great about working with you guys is you hold the space. You're like, just give me a half an hour. Let me call you back. Like, I'll
Yeah.
process this with you.
yeah.
You know, and I've seen you do it with so many other people because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, and for anybody that, you know, whether you're a coach or whether you want to open a pawn shop, for God's sakes, there's a lot in Philly. I highly recommend you go down there. But there's, you know, you can't do it all. And if you think you can, you're chipping away at your own confidence. You're not doing anything good.
Yeah.
And I honestly hit a point where I was burnt. I was burnt. And I was like, I got into this space to heal people.
Yeah.
And I'm a wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can I possibly do this? And you
Yeah.
will never scale it financially or start doing the things like this podcast that makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
You'll never have the time or the creativity to step out of that
Yeah.
if you're so. I mean, we could all wake up at 4 every morning and chug till midnight and still have laundry, still
Yeah.
need to clean a closet.
There's
still-
always something.
Right, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of entrepreneurs they don't know how to time manage or what to prioritize.
No, most people don't. Like I know stay-at-home moms that don't have jobs and they don't have any side hustles or anything that they don't know how to prioritize their time.
They
Right.
can't get the laundry done.
No, they can't get the laundry done. They're like, my house is a mess.
See, that would be
Holy
unacceptable
shit.
in my
I know. I'm just
like
like,
if I leave
like I get a
Rusty
little
home
judgy.
to go get my nails, and I'm like, what did you get accomplished while I was going?
I know. Like, what have you been doing?
He's a
have you
doer,
just been watching
though.
TV?
He's a doer. Like he's feeding
Yeah.
the birds, and he's a doer.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I feel like I need to have been like, that was really productive.
You
That
see,
keeps
but
me
that's
motivated.
See,
to go.
I'm not like I could never be someone, and I have friends that can do this, and I'm like, if that's your thing, like that's cool. Unless I am deathly ill, I could never spend a day in bed. But there's some people who that's like their dream. But I'm like I love my Sundays because like Saturdays we just like do whatever we want. It's a fun day. We run errands, we shop, we have sports, we watch the game, we do stuff with friends.
You get the dog off the desk.
Yes.
You talk Deb down.
Yes.
Deb, I'm
Sunday,
gonna use
I'm
your
like,
promotion.
we're grocery shopping for the week. We're thinking about what we're eating this week. We're getting the schedule. All the laundry's done. House is ready to roll.
See,
Like,
I
we
feel
are
more productive
Sunday.
that way. Like I do
Because it gives us probably security.
It
safety,
does.
knowing all
It takes
done.
away that anxiety that
Yeah.
tomorrow's going to come. And by the way, the cheese is moldy in the refrigerator. We don't have any milk. I don't
Yeah.
have a Diet Coke to drink in the morning. Like it takes away that anxiety.
Oh yeah, like and I'm really big. Like I actually had a lot of anxiety as a kid, probably because like I was like, what's going on? And my mom helped create security for me because she covered all the bases. Like my mom, I'm like, how the hell did you do what you did?
She still does.
She still does.
She still does. I know
My
your
mom's
mom is so
amazing.
pivotal. I love hearing
She's
the
amazing.
red light therapy thing, and you're like my mom said. I'm like, bravo.
I know, like people are like, oh,
That
you have
woman's
that.
on
I'm
the
like my
cutting
mom.
edge.
And then she sent me Valentine's Day pajamas the other day. She's like,
love
well, I just
that.
figured you need some. I'm like,
I love
my mom.
that.
I
What
got
a
her a
great-
dog. She got me Valentine's Day pajamas.
That's fantastic, right?
But,
and she sent red light therapy.
Oh my
like,
gosh, she's like, I got
bravo.
one. She goes,
Like-
would you use it? I'm like, yes. She goes,
Yes.
I've been using it every day. My mom, I love my mom so much because she is just like always open to try something new.
Absolutely.
And she's like, she's never going to be old.
Right.
And like she's 70 and she like works her ass off. But anyways,
I think Rusty's kids think that they're older than me. Literally.
yeah.
They're like, they're like, what, did Deb start or like I think like part
Yeah.
of it's a little frightening. They're like,
Yeah.
she's this ball of energy. Like they're
Yeah.
like,
That's like my mom. She has so much energy. She's like, oh, she's out power washing everything. I'm like, you're just keep going, mom.
Well, in my world, shit needs to get done.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah. You would love my mother.
Yeah, just shit needs to get done.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I am fortunate enough to have like a Ryan like you have who does all that, but I mean,
Yeah.
shit needs to get done.
Yeah.
We're a team.
But
we gotta
exactly,
get it done.
exactly. But I think she really taught me a lot about getting shit done and like she was such a great mom. Like she just
Fantastic.
and my dad was like working, and they were building their company together, and they always made time for each other.
Right.
And so I think they really taught me that, because they were like mom was like, sometimes our date night was putting you kids to bed and having a drink on the back patio and
Right.
just talking about
Right.
what was going on. And so they were a really good example. You know, they've been married.
That
like
is a
44
beautiful
years.
example, because
And
you
they were at all of our
lose that
stuff.
connection, and then guess what?
Yeah.
Your core base is
Oh, yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much money you make.
No.
It has nothing to do with it. Money
No.
never reconnects.
Yeah.
And I had to catch myself that when we were talking about dinner one night. I'm sure I shared this with you.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was in December when everything was kind of going crazy, and I'm trying to like pivot everybody and do multi-cities and whatever. And I actually heard Rusty heating up leftovers in the microwave.
Oh.
And I could hear it from my office. And I was like, it was like literally someone had ripped my heart out of my chest, knowing
Because that's like your role.
that's
in
our
family.
time.
Yeah.
That's our time. Whether it's a hot dog or whether it's a gourmet meal.
Yeah.
That's our time together. And
And he just,
like,
I love it because he just doesn't say anything. He's
doesn't
just gonna
say
eat it
anything.
up.
Right. I
You're
go, I'm
like,
crying. He goes, oh my God, why are you crying?
You're like, why are you using the microwave?
Right. I'm like, you're going to lay the Ryan line on me and pull your emotion out of this. But yeah, and I was. But to me, like, he gives so much for me to do what I do.
Yeah.
That's all he asks for.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs go into it like that, and they're like, "Well, you know, I'm never going to see my wife again." I'm like, "Well, then you're going to be miserable."
Well, yeah, it's like really like, what's the point?
What's the point?
Like, what is the point? Because the business should really serve your life.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't really like take from it.
Right.
You know, like I don't believe that anyways. But like
Yes.
some people, it's like they serve the almighty like dollar, and I have no problem with making money. But I believe like first it's my family. Like there's things that are really important to me, and then I want that business to like serve what we're trying to do. And we teach our kids about our business. We're like, you're a partner in this business, and
Absolutely.
we tell them what's going on, and they know who our clients are and what they're doing, and you know they're a part of it too. And sometimes when things are not convenient, and we're doing a live show, and my son's trying to walk in and tell me about something, and he was like, well, I'm like, you know,
Right, exactly.
And so we have to have those conversations like, hey, like if I'm in the middle of something, like you're important, but like not in that moment, unless
Right.
somebody's bleeding or like
Right.
somebody's trying to do something bad, like you don't bother us. And
you know,
they
it
have
kind
to
of falls
understand
into that role too, because I see even in my, like, they know that I'm working, and it's kind of respect to, you know, keep things at a
Yeah.
quiet level, and you know, but it is true, you know.
Yeah.
I burnt myself out in the beginning, and then I learned that wasn't
Yeah.
the way to do it, and now I'm very structured with my time.
Well, yeah,
and
we
my
gotta learn
assistant
from it.
knows. He's like, she will not. You can cry, fuss. She will not do it.
Yeah.
She won't do it. That's
Yeah.
her downtime. She will not do it because I can't be the best person. I can't be the best friend or anything
Yeah.
if I don't get that time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
where do you guys see this go? And I know this is new. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
have the resume is ridiculously impressive, and to work with people of your quality is just so incredible, because you're getting what you're seeing.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Like we are who we are.
You are.
We're like,
You
there's
are.
nothing fake here.
Yeah, you're getting what you're seeing, but like,
Yeah.
where do you see this going?
Well, it's funny because people ask that, and I'm always like, it's like, give me a minute to think about it. I mean, my goal is this year, I want to be $1 million business. So
Great.
like in the revenue area, like that's a big goal of mine. And I mean, I would love to really build up multiple companies and get a reputation that, hey, if you want to build your business, like these are the people you go to.
Right.
They're good people, they're solid people, they do what they say. And there's so many businesses that'll take your money and promise you results, and then you're in the same place, you just have less money.
There's more businesses than not.
Yes. And
And you're like, you're very good at being like, not necessary.
Yeah. And I tell people too, like, I remember when we first started working with Craig, and I was like, listen, I know I'm asking you to invest this money with us, like, you know, on a monthly basis, but my goal is for you to be making so much more money than what you're paying me.
Right.
And there was a situation the other day with a company where I was like, we were talking about like, we were talking about like, okay, well, is this, you know, the monthly amount? What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, figure out how much money you've helped that company make in the last couple months. And I was like, holy shit. And he goes, now do you think you're worth it? And I was like, yeah, I'm worth it.
Yeah, totally.
So that's the thing is I was like, oh, hell, like I help companies bring in so much more money.
Exactly.
The business owners are like, I love my business so much more than I did when
because you're not looking at it as when you're paying everybody and nothing.
Well, because a lot of people are looking at the bottom line.
Beat your head against a wall.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, we did this project, we brought in this amount of money, we did this, we brought in this many leads into your business. Like, I cost this, but we got rid of this employee. Like, it's just like, wow, that's like.
Well, I'm definitely in the believer that you have to spend money to make money.
Yes.
Like you
on the right things.
Can't get a lemonade stand and expect to be a billionaire.
Well, and the thing in the coaching space is there's so many people. Like I see, and sometimes it pans out, a lot of times it doesn't, where people pay people to get an opportunity. They pay people to get on their stages. They pay people to be on their podcast. Like I think Andy Elliott charges like a certain amount of money to do a podcast with people. Brad Lee was doing that. And I'm like, great business model
or something.
Great business model for them. Did it help that person make any money?
Right.
It's like, because why would you have a product, and whatever, like people, they pay for it, they do whatever, but it's like, why would you have a product, promise something, but then like that doesn't actually happen? And that's where people get a bad name in this space.
That is absolutely where people.
They're like, oh, I'll help you do this. Oh, you'll get on this. You'll get in front of this many people. It's like none of those people converted into customers, and now they're just out $5,000.
Right.
Like that was 2 months on their mortgage.
Absolutely.
Or probably more than that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
and when you're new in this business, regardless of what you've come from or what you build or your husband does, whatever, $5,000 is a lot of money.
Yes.
In that.
Yes. And like $5,000 would do a lot for a lot of people.
Yes. And I can tell you the most frustrating thing as somebody who's, now ducks are in a row. They're all quacking in the same direction. Yeah. On his way to the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're all down there.
They're
Suckers aren't flying south. They're staying in Philly, grabbing cheesesteaks. I beat myself up a little bit because I'm like, why didn't I see it? Why? And every time I made that payment, that was taking away from something else in my life.
Yeah.
That payment, there's no money tree in the backyard. I mean, if there is, Rusty will get one and he'll ship you guys one. That'll be my next gift to you. But there isn't. Like that money came from somewhere else.
Well, and I think probably because growing up, my parents having their own business, and seeing that from like my childhood and all the back end of what goes on in a business, and when someone will willingly, and I don't want to say like take money from a business, but they're not fulfilling things out of integrity.
Right.
They're thinking of it just from collecting money and like, but it's like, no, like you have, like there's something that you're supposed to be doing.
You're not delivering a product.
Yeah. Like it drives me crazy. I'm like, how can you even do that? Like take somebody's money and then that's the shit you delivered?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Or didn't deliver?
Right. Or didn't deliver.
What?
Right.
What
and
is
the funny thing is like in my world, we don't, taking money for a product that's not delivered is the exact same thing as unzipping my purse and reaching in and taking money out of it.
It is.
Yeah.
To me, that's stealing.
Well, and it's like that person that you're paying, it's like their business is shitty.
Their business
like we see so many things where we're like, they need us because that's not going to last. Because like my parents have been in business how long? Probably almost 45 years successfully. It doesn't mean that it's all been perfect all the time, but like
there is
in business
no perfect
that long,
scenario, right?
And great reputation and everything, very different industry, but it's like you're only as good as your word.
That's it.
And it's like if you say you're going to do something,
then you better damn well do it.
And guess what? Like it's a small world.
It's a small world.
And like you're not going to be in business in a couple years because people are going to get burned out on your bullshit.
Yep.
And they're going to tell all of their friends and they're going to tell everybody, especially in the world like of social media.
Right.
It's like you're going to be out of business because you're not acting out.
And quite honestly, I think we owe it to people to be like, don't work with them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't want anyone to have to go through the experience I went through.
Yeah. Well, and it's like almost because there's so many shitty people out there that you almost have to prove that you're not going to be shitty. Like, I remember we were talking with a new client and they were like, well, how many clients are you going to take on? Because they were really worried that we would grow fast.
You'd be overwhelmed, right?
And then pawn them off. I was like, I will never do that to you. Like, that's just like not even in my like being.
No.
Or we'll have like a real straight conversation. I'll tell you where I'm at. Like we'll communicate exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really hard. And I think you guys are just, it's such a good balance, you know, because you're like me. We're like, we're energy balls, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and I
if
get
I had paint
pissed off.
attached to me, this whole place would have been repainted 15 times, you know? And Ryan is so like, this is what's going to go. This is
Yeah.
what you need. It might be uncomfortable to hear it, but this is the level
Yeah.
you need to be at. I mean, if you're going to be successful, because how much money is wasted? So much money.
Yeah.
So much money. And we're the last people to get paid. I pay everybody before. I don't ever take any money, actually. You know,
Yeah.
like it's one of those. That's my goal this year.
Take
Friends,
Draw a
I need
paycheck.
a check, something.
Draw a
I
paycheck,
don't know,
girl.
something. Somebody
Yeah.
buy me a drink, anything. But yeah, and I think that's the whole thing. So I think what you're doing, you know, knowing you personally, I truly think you guys are just the most humble, best in the business, honest, loyal. You're the kind of people that you want to work with, but you can scale any companies because you can see the cracks and
Yeah. Well,
and you're very creative, Brittany.
Yeah.
You really are. You're very
Yeah.
creative. Like on the spot, you can be like, "All right, this is it."
Yeah, well, like I think one of my top strengths is strategy, and so I just see how things should like line up to get a result that we want. Yeah, so I think that's a strength that like businesses need because they need a good plan.
They do.
And
we
the
don't
thing
throw spaghetti on a wall.
No. Sometimes
one-
like you got to try something, you got to get feedback,
Right.
You know, almost like a science experiment, you know, and then you
Right.
perfect it like over time. But the thing too that people have asked us is like, even if they're not like, I don't need somebody monthly, but I need somebody to just come in and put eyes on it. Like we
Right.
would do audits and things like that, you know, and it's like we can serve businesses in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. I think just having another, you know, we had Jen in and we train together and we do different things. We're on
Yeah.
completely different paths. She's an amazing coach, but it's a very, you know, to have somebody that deep dives into your business. Like, let me see what, and I'll never forget. You're like, I know you can do all this, Deb. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Who's the person you want sitting there
Yeah.
behind that Zoom?
Well, and also like in the coaching industry, people think, you know, one-on-ones and whatever. And a lot of times people get burned out on one-on-ones. And then I have a guy that I will do projects for, and he's like, I love one-on-ones. I'm like, you do? I was like, most people say they hate them.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I do love a good one-on-one.
Yeah. And some people
I
like
think
a
it's
blend. It depends on who it is.
Right. I
probably.
mean, I always saw myself morphing this into more group coaching, but
Yeah.
I really, it's such a heart thing for me to see them hit a point of their life and
Yeah.
step into what they deserve.
Yeah.
Like you can get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what good coaches do.
Yeah,
They make
absolutely.
you believe in yourself. They grow confidence. They give you solid plans and structures
Yeah.
and realistic advice. And I'm, you know me, I'm like, Britt, if this is garbage, just hit me hard. Like, it's garbage, it's garbage. Just tell me. I don't want to waste any time on it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's my kind of person to work with.
Yeah.
Somebody that's like, I'm sick of being here.
Yeah.
Let's get you out of that space.
Yeah, and like we're not warm and fuzzy. Like I'm not like mean or harsh or like I don't ever degrade people, but I'm not that like everything's great. Like I'm not even like that as a wife and a mom.
Right.
Like I'm just not wired like that.
Right.
I'm like I know plenty of people like that if you need somebody to talk to.
Right,
Like you're
right.
probably way better of a cheerleader for people than I am.
Right.
Like I'm like if you need me to just like throw you compliments, like I'm not like
Yeah.
I'm
I'm not, you know,
your
the
girl
funny
on
thing
that.
is everybody says that Deb's like a chiller and a hype girl. I'm really not if I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Because I know what I
Yeah.
had to go through. And I know, you know, I would have killed to have a Deb.
Yeah.
I would have killed to have a Deb on my side. But I also know that if you change nothing, nothing changes. Mm-hmm. And
Like, it's
all
like
that
after a
fluff
time,
is
you're
not
like-
going to get you anywhere in this world.
Yeah, I'm so impatient. I'm like, are we seriously talking about the same thing again?
I know.
Like, I was done with this yesterday.
I know.
Like, what?
I know.
But that's why we can create traction fast and get
Mm-hmm.
people momentum because it's like making decisions and moving forward. And,
well, and you
it's
know,
incredible.
it is. When you're doing cleaning up messes, you don't know
Yeah.
where to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you don't know where. I didn't know. I mean, thank God you told me. I'm like, I don't know where to go. Like,
Yeah.
I know the show must go on. I
Yeah.
do know that.
Yeah.
You know, and when I got over that, I'm like, Deb, you're resourceful. You know everybody in that area.
Yeah.
Just make some calls.
Yep. And it figures itself out.
Totally
That's the thing,
figures
is I think
itself out.
sometimes people think they need to have all the information. They need to know exactly what to do. It's like, just take the first step. Like, do
Yes.
the one thing that you know needs to be done, and usually it leads you to the next one.
Right.
You know, so.
Right. Be loyal, be honest, be humble.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And I think that they're my favorite kind of people that are like, oh, dude, I've been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
The
'cause you're
people
like,
that
oh,
talk
really?
to you, not at you, you know, I think they're my
Yeah.
favorite. They're the ones you learn the most from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think that, you know, as coaches too, it's like, it's okay. Like, sometimes people think even as a coach, you have to know it all. And that's the thing, sometimes in the business world, I'm like, people will go, is this going to work? I'm like, I can't guarantee it.
Right.
There's always curveballs that could happen, but I'm going to do absolutely everything in my power strategically that I know how to do. We're going to hit all bases.
Right.
And we're going to see how it comes out on the other side.
Right.
And
I think it's too, what's great about you guys is you deep into the individual. Like, I'm a different coach than another coach you might be working with. Like,
different personalities, communication
you
styles.
know what my strong points are. You know the things I'm not so great at. And you can fit it into a mold of what is best for the business.
Yeah. Well, and then I love to see people's content and stuff and then help develop content and like really get in the trenches with them and hear them talk about things. I'm like, oh gosh, how are you not teaching on this? Like that was like killer,
and it's true because when you are the one doing it, it just becomes part of, I have to tell you, shooting day is the worst day of my life.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
Now, if somebody called and was filming me, I could probably grab 60 clips off of that.
You should do that. Just turn your camera on when you're on the phone.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I just walked around the house talking, everything's a coaching moment.
Oh,
like, even in the podcast with the new crew, they're like, I bet you are a great coach.
Yeah.
They're like, you have the
just how you listen and communicate and...
Yeah, I think it's just so... we don't hold space for people. In this world anymore. We're all too digitally connected, and whatever I've learned in school or in training, whatever is minuscule from what I've learned from talking to human beings.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing is like education and stuff. It has its place, but it'll get you so far. But I believe this with anything, and like I would actually say this to all the young people too. Is just like go out there and find yourself an opportunity, and that's where you're going to learn.
Absolutely.
Because like the reason I have such probably thick skin is from some of the jobs I've had. Like I was a freaking phlebotomist in a hospital, and I would have to go into patients' rooms at 3 a.m. in the morning and wake them up. Those are some pissed off people.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how to like turn
Hospitals are not for sick people, by the way. I don't think people get better in hospitals. I had two friends that their father spent over like the Christmas holiday, and I'm like, oh my God, do people get better in those places?
Oh God. Yeah.
I think that's where it came from.
Yeah.
But
But like encountering like really like awful situations.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like in my I was 21.
Right.
And that toughened
and
me
just
up.
be brave. I think that's what's lacking in people.
Well,
I think a lot of
afraid
fear
to try.
They're afraid of judgment.
People are so afraid to try. They're afraid of being uncomfortable. And this is one of my big things that I think if people, because I had somebody one time ask me, well, how'd you build that business? And I was like, I always said yes.
Toothpicks.
Yeah. I always said yes to opportunity. Not yes, I'm going to do everything for everybody. But if somebody ever presented me with an opportunity, even when it scared the shit out of me, I said yes. I remember when I was in this network marketing company and I was growing really fast and they asked me to speak on a national call to thousands of people.
Wow.
And I had like 2 toddlers. I was probably sleep deprived, hoping he was going to get home from work in time so we could keep the kids out of the office. And I was like, yep. I'll be on. And I remember they were like, we'll go live once we get to 5,000 people. And I was like, fuck, 5,000 people.
5,000 people.
And I've never been like, I'm not doing this. And I almost backed out. And then I was like,
you can do it.
I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to pray for a second.
Right.
I'm going to breathe. And I killed it. But that
killed
was
it,
so
I'm sure.
scary. But I would never, so many people, because something scares them, they say no. Because they're so afraid of getting uncomfortable. But
right, they are. We definitely live in a world where people don't want to step out of their own box.
no, I mean, who am I to say, yeah, I can grow your business? But it's like, but my past results prove that I know what I'm doing.
That you can grow.
But even sometimes I'm like, I'll ask him like, do I know what I'm doing? Because I'm like, these are people's lives, And he's like, you know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing,
Yeah.
right?
And I'll get out of a meeting.
You have to be brave. Because I know the worst thing that I can think of, now heading on to 2 years doing this, is like being in the same spot in 6 months.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's way scarier than like picking up a phone.
Yeah.
You don't know me, but whatever. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's not.
Yeah.
I think it's that fear of judgment. But, as you get older, you shake that off. You're like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, like it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there.
Well, and I'm probably more susceptible to some of that. Like I do it anyways because I've had like a lot of people judge me and whatever. But he's so good. He's like, F him. Who
Water
cares?
up the duck.
Ryan does not care.
Yeah, I'm
Not
a
care.
little more on the Ryan side. I'm
Yeah.
like, I guess.
No, and I need people like that
Your
in my
loss.
life to be like, who cares about them?
You know, and it's really funny because I think, you know, in business, in friendship, in growing, in whatever, you find your tribe.
Yeah.
You do. You're not, and I'm not for everybody. I know that. You know, but you do. You find the people that are your people.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to work with the other ones anyway.
No.
You know, it's too draining. All right. To all our listeners out there, how do we get in touch with you? How do we say, like, all right, I have this company. I want you to audit. Give me, how do we get in touch with you?
Social media right now is probably the best way. My Instagram is the Brittney Hall. My first name's spelled kind of different. It's Brittney. So that's always tricky. Our website should be up soon. It's going to be the Revenue Agency TX.
I literally, I feel like an unlaunching party. Like when
gosh.
Carrie got her cast off, I feel like that's what we need to do with your
With my website.
with your website.
I know.
Like drum roll,
I'm
like
it
curtains
was-
opening.
Yeah, it's supposed to be finished up this week. Praying to God that it's done soon. So that's but yeah,
super
social media is a
exciting.
great way. I'm super responsive on there.
I see you moving into speaking,
Yeah.
like getting in front of teams and being
I
like,
would love
this
that.
is what it is.
I love
you know?
teaching people. That's the thing is like whenever I've spoken to audiences and trained on things, it's so funny because I've in the last probably couple years I've always been behind the people who are speaking, but it's like I'm actually like a pretty good trainer.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at educating people, and I've 20 years ago I started out in the fitness space, training people that way and leading groups of people to do things, and it's so fun, and I love like getting in and educating adults and teaching.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
You know, and
I'd
you
love
guys
to
know,
do
and you know what you're
workshops.
doing. It's not.
Yeah.
So I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
So I know this business is going to do like crazy things. I don't think you have a bigger fan.
I know. Like you're so awesome.
I really, I know
love
you
that.
guys are going to do big things. So if
Yeah.
you're growing a business, whatever business, get in touch with Brittney.
Yeah.
You'll laugh for the dog. She'll send you a picture. Her dog stands on her desk, which I'll
my
never
God.
forget that as
Oh my
long as I
gosh.
live.
The other day he was on the coffee table. I was like, what the hell
What are you doing on the coffee table?
He was looking out the window.
He-
I was like, okay, you just
Well,
need a
it's
little more
bird's
height.
eye view,
Like,
right?
it's fine.
Get him a little ladder to the window. And
Well, we're the worst. We're like, it's hilarious. How can you not like that?
I know. It's really the insanity that goes on in people's house. Like if people could see, you know,
Oh,
as
yeah.
I'm talking down people, if they
This
could
is why
saw,
I'm moving my office upstairs.
I know. If you could see the lunacy that really is happening
Oh,
in the
God,
background all
yeah.
the time. You know, the Ring doorbell's going off and you're like,
Freaking
oh,
dogs are barking.
right. I
like,
only have one dog and
kids are
she
yelling.
barely is. She's like a throw pillow. Essentially. She's not even like a dog. You know, she's so cool. Like she snores and she's in my office, but like Lola's portable. You just pick her up and take her everywhere.
Yeah.
But thanks for being on Happy
Thank
Hour.
you.
We
Thank you.
are.
Always. Thank you for
I'm
having us.
so honored to be your friends, and thank you for all the support and the love. And I know you give that to every single
Yeah.
person. And let's go get a tour bus.
Yeah. Down.
That's it. That's
Go.
it.
Let's go.
I could drive it.
You-
Yes.
that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something about the drivers. They're like a tour bus is one thing, paying a driver is another.
He's the driver.
Right, and I've got to have like people I like on the bus. I know. Don't worry, the bus is coming.
It is.
I've been
no,
talking
as
about
much as you
this
talk
for
about
so
this bus is
Right,
happening.
and my new media team is like, I bet she has a bus by the summer.
Yeah.
Right, I'm like, that'd be great if I had one for the Eagles Super
At least
Bowl.
a really cool Sprinter van.
Right, exactly. right, exactly. Like I drive an electric car, the damn thing needs to be plugged in. It's something that runs on it's Texas.
Yeah.
Clean burning American fuel.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud
Thank
of you,
you,
and I
Deb.
know you'll come back and keep us going.
Of course. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.